Good morning, September 12th, 2022. What is this, a Monday morning? And I thought I had everything set up right and then realized at the last moment, no, I don't even have my monitoring set up so that I can check to see if audio is coming through okay. So here it goes. Audio is coming through okay. Yep, that sounds like it's okay. All right. Today's title, Windows Daily 52, responding to chat room and comments from previous streams. And this week is going to be a little different. I'm headed up to the cabin today, and rather than trying to live stream from there, I've prepared some videos that I'm pretty sure the way I'm going to do it is run them as premieres. And I will be available in the chat room, but I'll probably not be on live camera for the next 2 or 3 days. And the topics are a little different twist than the troubleshooting topic. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. I've been toying around with some variations of the format for these morning shows. I'm liking doing a show 9 a.m. every morning, but they've been running longer than I ever intended this to do, and a little bit interfering with the day. So today is just going to be responding to chat room and comments from previous streams. I think it's really useful and important to do that. I think it allows me to provide a connection with the audience to where you can ask questions and you can get a response. So when I look through the chat comments and the comments on the videos, anything that I think is an interesting topic, that triggers that. So the topics might be more varied by doing that. But rather than trying to include the review of comments and chat in each morning video, I'm thinking maybe occasionally there will be a video just for responding to chats and comments from previous videos. So that's what today is an experiment for. So I'm going to go over here and bring up the video that I had already set up, ready to go. And then at the last minute, I went clicking around to some things and lost what I had set up. So I'm going to get back to that here. What I'm going for is Friday's Windows Daily session. So here it is on my video list. That was Windows Daily number 51. And I have that paused halfway through. And actually, well, it's not paused, but I already determined that at the end of the video, I can see all of the chat comments that I'm wanting to respond to. And just a couple of them. Lawn Dog, as always, has a lot of interesting conversation there, but not anything there for me to that I wanted to respond to, except for a couple of them. So let's go. Oh, I think that thing when he's talking about remembering names, I think that's facial dysplasia, and I may have a little bit of that. Alt tab, yeah, we've talked about that a few times. Shake. Here's the one I want to get to, is shake. Yeah. Shake, rattle, and roll. Here's the watch on the table, Tony. I have a few windows open right now. So you can see in the background as I drag this window down, there's Excel with my Fortnite players list and Microsoft Word and a OneNote behind it. So here's the idea of shaking. Let's suppose that I only want this particular window to be available. So I'm going to drag the mouse.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, I'm gonna mute her. What I do is hold down the left mouse button in the title bar, not on one of these tabs, but in an area of the title bar where I don't have one of those tabs. And I could be doing this on any of these other windows. And then move the mouse back and forth, left and right. And that's what we call shake. So here it goes. What it did is it minimized all the other programs. including all the other programs on my other monitors, which one of them is XSplit. So I can't even see the stream running until I just restored it. Then I can go back and restore those if I want to, and of course bring Chrome back up on top. So that's what that shake technique was about. And it looks like I lost the chat room comments, so let's try refreshing that. I guess I shook it so hard that the comments fell off the side of the screen. I don't know. So there was the one about shake. Let's move this. That's at 12:03. Move to the end of the video and pause it, and then scroll back up to the 12:03, which is right here. There's another comment. Dog makes some comments about multiple monitors. Oh, the two motherboards. Asking, is this the machine you said Kerry Holzman built? And yes, it is. And does he have a video on this? So yes, he does. And I'm going to show how to find that. So I'll open another tab, go to YouTube, and then go to Kerry Holzman. I can get him down here in my subscriptions. If you don't have him showing up there in your subscriptions, then you can just do a search for Kerry Holzman. Then go into his channel, and then click on this Videos tab, and then click on this magnifying glass over here. And this is how you would search for any particular video on his channel. And what we'll search for is Big Beast Build. Now, the question was, does he have a video? Well, no, he doesn't have a video. He has multiple videos related to Big Beast Build. So here's Big Beast Build Part 1, streamed a year ago. Down here's Part 2, then Part 3, then Part 4. Then there's Part 5 down here and Part 6. So these are all multiple hours. He did have some issues that he had to deal with building the computer. And then this one here, Big Beast Build Part 8, final with special guest. And as you can see in this thumbnail, I'm in that picture with that thumbnail where I actually went to his Studio B and picked up Big Beast. So there's a video there of that episode, that experience. Now, let's go take a look at something else about Big Beast. Let's see, where was that chat at? And this is today's chat. Nothing there I need to jump on. And I gave Ken Stout a heads up that today's video is probably going to be short. How did you handle the power supply connections would be one connection. The other is, how did you get two motherboards in the same machine? At this time, I'm leaning towards as far, oh, well, that's a backup strategy. So that's all he asked right there. So I figured what I would do is go ahead and give a live peek at Big Beast Build. So I'm going to go to the tripod camera and then move it around. Now I'm a distance away from the microphone right now, so I sound a little different. Obviously, I didn't prepare this camera for doing this, but the door opens here, and then let's lower the tripod. I'm going to get dizzy here a little bit, some of you, maybe. So the question was about the two motherboards and two power supplies. So I'm just going to give a brief tour, see how this goes. Here's the main motherboard for the Big Beast. It has a dedicated graphics card. And then down here is an ITX board. And so that's mounted on top of this cage here. And its connectors are out the back. This is a hard drive cage right here, where I have drives mounted in there that are attached to the Big Beast motherboard, and I have a drive in there that's attached to Baby Beast motherboard for backup purposes. The power supply for Big Beast is inside here, and the power supply for Baby Beast Let's see. Oh, yeah. The power supply for Big Beast is inside this cage, and then behind that is the smaller power supply for Baby Beast. So that's enough of a tour for this video. To see more of it, go watch Carrie Holzman's videos. Then, continuing, I think that's all that I wanted to respond to from the chat room for Friday's video. Yes. Then I'm going to come to comments on my channel, just shown over here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom comment and work my way up because that's working from the oldest to the newest. Celestia Guru, also known to us as Selden Ball, he says right here, the above was posted on my alternate YouTube account. So Selden Ball here is saying, regarding the on-screen positioning of windows, when I was showing methods to position the windows at different places on the screen, the Fancy Zones utility provided in Windows Power Toys is much more versatile than what's provided in Windows 10 and Windows 11. I did experiment with that I'm going to say a couple years ago. And it is very capable, but you have to learn how to use it. And I have found, of all the people that I've demonstrated those techniques for Windows key right arrow and click on the window for the other side, I don't know of anyone who's actually using those techniques on any regular basis or even remembering them. I do use them once in a while, but mostly all I'm doing is putting one application on the right side and another application on the left side. I never really found a practical purpose to have them in the four corners, and the extra capabilities that Fancy Zones provides and the extra capabilities that Windows 11 has built into it. I don't know. I just don't have a use case for it, and I haven't come across anyone who does. Pineapple Road says, thanks to something that happened to my desktop PC recently, I've discovered that surge protectors have a rather interesting failure mode. In my case, the surge protector that was connected to my desktop, which was a single device surge protector, was causing the PC to freeze randomly. And eventually got to a point where the PC could not even boot because the surge protector had gone bad. And I do believe I've come across that myself. I totally buy that. Surge protectors do go bad over time. The number of protection episodes where an excessively high voltage comes in and it has to dampen that so your equipment doesn't get damaged, the surge protector eventually wears out. And so that might be years, it might be months. If you're in an area that gets a lot of lightning strikes to the electrical grid in your area, surge protectors probably aren't going to last you as long. And there's different ratings on surge protectors. In that video there about shopping for surge protectors, I go into some of those details. So in this case, the real takeaway from the reason why I wanted to point this out is that if you have a computer that is randomly freezing, consider your power supply, your power connection. I don't just mean the power supply in the computer. I mean, what is your power cord connected to? And try connecting to something else. And I have done that even in offices where I suspected maybe a particular circuit has issues, and I'll try plugging the computer into another circuit. Or I might pick up a computer from a client's office because it's having random freezes or crashes, and I bring it into my lab and I cannot reproduce the symptom. But when I take it back to the client's office, the symptom is very reproducible. Well, then I take the computer to a different place in their office or put in a new surge protector. That might be the solution. So consider those options when you're trying to troubleshoot a crashing or freezing computer. Then here's another comment from Pineapple Road, and this was off of the video for preparing hard drives for recycle from Saturday. Back in 2018, when I purchased the custom-built PC that I have, I opted for a 5400 RPM 2 terabyte hard drive, mainly because it was cheaper than the SSD in the same capacity. Now that was 4 years ago. So a 2 terabyte SSD was more expensive then than it is now. And partly thanks to the recent incident involving that PC, I have replaced the 2 terabyte 5400 RPM drive with a 2 terabyte SSD. Of course, they don't cost as much now. And funny enough, that PC now starts faster than pretty much every other Windows PC in the house. I think most of the viewers on my channel are not going to find that a surprise at all. And a 5400 RPM spinning drive was booting slower than an SSD. Whereas before it was one of the slowest. That computer was one of the slowest previously, but notice this, this PC that he's talking about looks like it was the most powerful PC in the house. When it had the spinning drive at 5400 RPM, it was the slowest starting PC, even though its CPU and RAM was better than the other computers in the house. So that's totally believable. One of the other things that could be the case there, though, is on a spinning drive in particular, if you have reallocated sectors, or if you have something else about the drive that's marginal, it can take the computer longer to boot. And in addition to that, I have had a few occasions where I had a computer that with an SSD drive, or even with a spinning drive, but it's more notable with an SSD as the boot drive, that was slow to boot, but there was a spinning drive also in the computer, not the boot drive. It didn't have anything to do with the boot sequence, you would think. However, when the computer starts up and Windows starts up, it is trying to evaluate that drive. If there's any issues with that drive, it's going to cause the computer to be slower to boot. And if you just disconnect that second drive that's in the computer and then check out your boot time, you might find it boots a lot faster. I've even been tempted to test that with a spinning drive as a second drive in the computer that is known to be good, meaning I know it doesn't have any lost reallocated sectors, and I know it has Crystal Disk Info reports it as in good condition. Time the boot drive with that second drive connected or disconnected. Does it make a difference? I haven't tested that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does, because still, when the computer starts up, it has to go look at that drive. So some amount of time is probably going to be experienced there. I'm not going to read over the specifications of that computer. I also put a 1 terabyte SSD into that PC for storing data on, and a 4 terabyte 5400 RPM drive as a backup drive, which currently has Macrium Reflect. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to get myself a NAS. That's interesting. Now, I don't have any interest in a NAS for myself because I use OneDrive. OneDrive is not a perfect environment. It glitched on me yesterday where I had a file from my accounting software that I saved as a PDF on Big Beast, and I wanted to print it from Baby Beast, but it did not transfer over promptly. As I was fussing with the different files, what eventually happened is it did transfer over to Baby Beast with the name of Big Beast next to it, meaning then I had 2 versions of that file. And it did not alert me to that. So OneDrive is something that you really need to have a little bit of education about in order to rely on it. And I think you're going to find a NAS is less troublesome in that regard. I've had OneDrive, people that are dissing OneDrive and SharePoint. Those claims are valid, but I still find use for it. Oh, and interesting enough, there's a data recovery company, watch this, I know of, which is able to recover data from shattered platters. Pineapple Road, you've got to get me the link for that. You might not find it at hand, but keep that in your mind when you stumble across it, or if you're willing to go hunt it up. I want to see some documentation about somebody can recover data from shattered platters. I don't want to just spread that as I heard or somebody said. I want to see documentation on that if you can find it within reason. Don't go way out of your way. I have no idea how they do it, but they have done it in the past. It's a company that's based in the UK. I just got this flash in my mind with super glue, taking the pieces, trying to piece them together. No, I don't think that's what they're going to do. And there might be a limit to how many pieces can they deal with. I don't know, but I'd like to read up about that. Something else I just thought of. I wonder how good SSHDs are. In theory, they are a reasonable middle ground between hard disk and SSD. I think they probably had more of a marketplace during the transition when SSDs were so very expensive, and then using SSHDs. Some of the HP and Dell, they actually came out with those on their computers. So what is SSHD? Well, now SSH we know is a encryption security element involved with networking, but SSHD is completely different. Solid state hybrid drive, so it has some elements of spinning, some elements of solid state. I don't know that has a good marketplace right now because SSDs are more reasonably priced. All right, now I should have popped out that chat that I was working from the channel comments. So that's into that. Then scrolling up to the next one. ElGalina. Now, some of you may remember the name ElGalina that I've referred to recently, and that's when she put in, or I don't know, male or female. I don't know why I read that name and think female, but Galina in a prior comment on a video said that an upgrade to Macrium Reflect no longer offered the capability of getting rid of that encoded number at the beginning of the file names. But then on Saturday, when I upgraded to that, was it Saturday or Friday? Whenever it was, I didn't find that to be the case. Now, this is a separate comment about Saturday's stream. With respect, it is agonizing to wait for you to get to the point, if indeed you ever do, which I gave up waiting to see, namely the intelligent way to make the data on the drive inaccessible. Now, what I had imagined for doing Saturday, I had imagined doing a variety of techniques for wiping a drive, and we did not get around to doing that. All we wound up doing was breaking the platters. I thank you, Galina, for the phrase at the beginning, respect, and thank you for expressing your emotions during that. Clearly, you were not similar to most of the audience on the Saturday live streams that are there to hang out and talk tech topics. The Saturday live streams in particular, but even the Windows Daily, I deal with other topics besides the main title of the video. So now I would suggest, I think this is what you did, is don't watch it through. Come back later and scrub through it, go to the end, bounce around, find what you're interested in. Also, I think on another Windows Daily, I'm probably going to show how to utilize the transcript of a video to find the content that you're interested in. Not everybody has the time or the interest in their day to hang out during a typical Saturday live stream. So then Galina says, 2 hours to shatter the platters, and you didn't even harvest the magnet, which is very handy to have in your workshop or in the kitchen for hanging with the chopping knife. Well, two things there. That magnet was not very strong. I did test it. And the other thing is I have plenty of magnets. But it's a decent point to bring out. Those magnets can be useful for other things. Regarding the cut, Galina talks about the cut that I got on my hand. I'm not going to go through that because that's a little bit off topic. And thank you for putting that in there. And there were some interesting things about that. But by the way, the cut, after the stream was over, I went upstairs to treat it, and I couldn't get it to bleed again. I couldn't tell where the cut was. It was that minor, even though it looked like more blood than minor, but it didn't bleed anymore. I really didn't have to do much of anything to it. Okay, so I think that does it. I'm all caught up there. I'll go see what is going on in today's chat room, if there's anything that I need to know about. I see lots of comments there, so I'll go back and read over them later. So Ken, here they come. I've got the redirect set up to go to Ken Stout's Da Vinci Daily, or Daily Da Vinci, I think it's called. Thank you for watching. I hope that was useful. Have a good day. Goodbye.